Alrighty then.
You.
How you darn? How you darn? How you darn?
I'm
What
wrong.
is Gucci? Welcome in WG. I see you in the chat. Welcome in Waffle Boy. We see Waffle Boy in the chat. It's good to have you guys here along with us. We appreciate you. Hopefully you're having a fantastic end of your weekend because it is coming to a close, but that's okay.
It is. That's all right. Let me just check in this audio here. Let's see how we sound.
I'm actually hearing the audio from somewhere. I'm trying to figure that out. Okay, here we go. We appreciate y'all. Let us know who we're hanging out with tonight. Let us know who's here. We are hyped to help y'all with your Dynasty teams today. Major Tuddy is in the chat. Major Tuddy's got to be a Commanders fan then, because Major Tuddy is the name of the mascot they're trying to force down our throats right now. You seen that, Major Tuddy?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Hello?
Sorry, yes. He might be a Commanders fan, yes.
I was like, Tuddy. What is happening with your mic? He says, yes, sir. I love that you're embracing the rebrand. I'm struggling, man. I'm struggling. I mean, the Commanders' name isn't that bad. I don't hate the name anymore. I just
watch
hate
the football team.
The branding. The branding is rough. You know, like the jerseys are not fun either. But anyway, what's up, Lucas? How you darn? Chad says, I got demons, bro.
Uh-oh.
I mean, what's...
I think everyone has, but...
The power of Christ compels you.
Hey, man. He's a lifter of your head. Just know that.
Waffle, what's Gucci? Welcome in. Old school, but the core, you love it. What's up, Steel Mob? Welcome in, guys. Hey, do us a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button as the stream is starting. We are excited to be breaking down some Dynasty teams today.
Absolutely.
And we will just say this before we get the stream started. If you're watching this and you want your team to be reviewed by yours truly, by us, it's very simple. All you need to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I just put a direct link in the chat for you. And some very exciting news is not only do you get a Dynasty team review when you become a Mother Flocker member with the code LAND, you also get access to our 2024 Rookie Report. Version 3.0 just dropped minutes ago. I mean, literally minutes ago in the Discord, we announced that it dropped, as you can see here over in the Discord. Announced that, 20 minutes ago now. So it is fresh, it is hot, it is crispy, it's off the press, it's ready for your eyes to be read. But we are very excited. Some new additions. Obviously, we got the athletic testing. For most players, not every player got to test. We added my guys, players to monitor that we haven't fully, looked at just yet. And obviously new profiles across the board in the report. And we're getting closer and closer to feeling very good about this class. You also get access to our rankings, the trade calculator, and the trade finder, as well as unlocking all the premium Discord channels that we offer. So again, become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND, direct link in the chat. What's up, Brian? He says, I love the content, fellas. We appreciate you, man.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Hey, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, man.
So the first team that we're looking at today is Big Bishop. Is Big Bishop in the chat? Hopefully he is. But
hopefully he is.
Regardless, we are going to be looking at his team. So Badaki, walk us through this team here as we start.
Yeah, here I'm actually trying to get his thing up. Oh, he's sending the link.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excuse me.
He's ahead of the game here.
He is ahead of the game here. All right, here starting off with the context. Big Bishop says, "Hey, second year in a dynasty, and I have been watching your videos and finally decided to join the flock to get your advice. First of all, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the fam." There. He says, "I am in a SuperFlex half PPR start 10 tight end premium, but QBs are nerfed. Also, a lot more to make it a lot more competitive. They only get 4 points per passing touchdowns and 1 point per 33.3 passing yards. That might change the owners meeting after the NFL draft.
I love that they have an owners meeting. That is awesome. So typically standard is 25 passing yards for 1 point, and we play mostly 6 point passing touchdowns. So that is nerfed for sure.
Yeah, 100%. He says tight ends are full point PPR, more getting 1.5 versus 0.5. I have injuries last year and didn't make the playoffs because it made a lot of trades during last season and during off season to get younger and get rid of injury prone players. Okay, the guys I traded with holding the keys to the kingdom. He tanked last year, sold his whole startup team, and murdered trades all off season. And I don't think anyone can compete with him for this year. And I want help with the direction for what I should be doing going forward. As always, thank you. Okay, we appreciate you. He also says I have the 104, 106, and the 110 here.
I do want some clarity on what he means. The Titans are a full point PPR more. So they are getting 1.5, and you guys are in a half PPR, basically. That's right.
Yeah,
That's how you read it. Okay.
that's how I'm understanding it because
Okay,
they
cool.
are then it's in a half PPR.
He does have some trades he is showing us here, if we want to have a look at these.
Yeah, so the first one here looks like Bishop is getting CJ Stroud, the 104, the 106, and his 25 second. And he said Lamar, Bryce Young, Debo, Waddle, Mingo in a third and a fifth.
That is a pretty penny to pay, but give me Stroud over Lamar. It's close.
That's what I'm saying. Stroud
Bryce
over Lamar.
Young versus the 104. You're getting close there. Let's say Bryce Young and Debo, the 104 around there is kind of valued. Waddle around the 106.
106.
So I think you actually got a pretty good value there, in my opinion.
I think that is a good deal. I would agree there as well. And then he gets the 110. He gets a 25 first, and he sends away Mark Andrews, a second, a fourth, and a fifth. Okay.
Sorry, say that again. I just pulled it up.
No, 110. He gets a 110 and the 25 first, and he sends away Mark Andrews, and he gets a 25 second, a fourth, and a fifth.
So obviously with the premium, that's why Andrews cost that much, but I still think that's pretty good value. Well, now we will have to see what your tight end room looks like now.
Yeah, what your tight end, that's exactly what I was going to say. I'm not necessarily sure here. What's his team name?
His team name is Penguins Taste Like Chicken.
Okay.
Which, I mean, you would only know that if you've eaten penguin. So.
Penguins. I mean,
you are currently third in the power rankings.
Yes, and he is in the chat, by the way.
Yes,
Lucas Bishop. We appreciate
awesome.
you.
Glad we got you here.
Yeah. So he is currently third in the rankings. I can see how this guy, Ziggy Piggy, might have the monopoly over you guys, but I think it's all depends.
God, that team is ridiculous. 12 team. I almost thought it was 10 team for a second. 12 team, start 10, Titan Premium. Look at that team, dude. Might as well pack it in.
Look, he doesn't have, respectfully, doesn't have the best quarterback. He had the best quarterback in CJ. He had Lamar.
He didn't have Lamar.
No, he didn't have Lamar. But he did have CJ Stroud. So he wants to get that Lamar Jackson with the Mark Andrews, stacked there. But that QB2 is not the best.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have any 24 first, but he still has capital in 25 and 26. So it's not terrible.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's all depends here. All right, let's look at his team. Quarterbacks: Josh Allen, CJ Stroud, and then you have Browning, Stidham, Lockett. All very interesting guys here. I think you set and forget with Josh Allen and CJ Stroud, no question about it.
Great 1-2 punch.
Yeah, we'll love to secure maybe a QB3 that can be anywhere along the lines of, I don't know, Daniel Jones to Geno Smith to something. Doesn't necessarily have to happen, but it will be good. I guess Jake Browning could be your good QB3 if Joe Burrow goes down again.
The good news is you really can't get a better quarterback 1 and 2 than this. Like, it's very difficult to do that.
You have the consensus QB1 and QB3 at the moment.
Also, quarterbacks don't mean as much in this format. But that doesn't mean they're pointless. They're probably still the higher scorers of anywhere, but something to keep in mind. Very good quarterback room.
Yeah, running backs here: Javonte Williams, Alvin Kamara, Big O Roscoe, Jaleel McLaughlin, Tank Bigsby, and then the list goes on from there. So your running back room is not the strongest. You do have 3 guys we can see have opportunity in Javonte, Kamara, and Johnston there going into next year. But
you got enough for me at this point of the offseason, though.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't
it's not
a
terrible.
superstar in Dynasty, but you've got more than enough at this point, I'd say.
Yeah. So it's not a room that you can definitely improve in, but nothing to where like you need to go make a move immediately.
Yeah.
To solidify this this class or this wide receiver or running back room. Excuse me. How many starters do you have in this class,
11, start 10.
Start 10. Okay. So what's that? 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, or 2, 4, and what? 4?
I'm guessing it's
4 wide receivers,
quarterback,
maybe?
2 running back, 3 wide receiver. That would be 7. 1 tight end, which is 8, and then 2 flex, which is 10.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's probably what it is.
Probably there. And at the wide receiver position, Tank Dell, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, Chris Godwin, Marvin Jones, and the list kind of goes on from there. And I think let's start off here.
I love
Marvin Mims, excuse me.
I will say, hey, at least Marvin Mims. Who knows what happens to Marvin Mims? Obviously, they like him. They always talk about him, but Judy's gone now, so that could be helpful.
The pathway is a little bit open. The door is cracked.
Let me ask you. I made a video back in January about players I thought were dead, and one of those guys was Jerry Jeudy. And we did talk about this on the stream. You were like, I don't know, I still love the guy, and he could go anywhere. He could get traded to the Chiefs, and you were like, what if he went to the Chiefs? Well, he's on the Browns.
It was insert elite quarterback, and I thought that's what we thought. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I'm trying to hear from you now. Is like, where do you sit on Jeudy? I know this is off track a little bit, but now he's with Deshaun Watson. I know this is hard for you because Elijah Moore went to Deshaun Watson last year, and it was like,
I know. This is what I would say. It's hard to really understand because we didn't get a full season of Deshaun. We didn't see Deshaun really get into rhythm. Now, do I believe Jerry Jeudy is the guy that I wanted before that trade? Is he the guy that I wanted before I was making all those conversations? Probably not anymore because he went to the Browns. Now, can Deshaun Watson come out and turn around everything be that top 5 quarterback he used to be? No. Can he be a top 10 quarterback that he used to be and still produce fantasy relevant wide receivers? Yes.
I think so.
Now, the ceiling there with Jerry Jeudy is not as high as I was hoping to be with all the talks around him going to being a really big wide receiver if he were to go to an elite quarterback prospect, right? I mean, the Ravens needed a wide receiver. The Chiefs needed a wide receiver last year. The Bills needed a wide receiver. All these teams that needed a wide receiver didn't go out and get Jerry Jeudy. Maybe that's a little bit concerning, but I would say this: Jerry Jeudy is probably not somebody I'm willing to go out and trade and go out and send a bag for anymore. I was really trying to take that. Basically, he's not the guy I wanted. How about that anymore?
Yeah,
with this quarterback,
I think I was trying to sell him for any second at that time when I made that video. I feel pretty good about getting a second at this point. I mean. And this might sound rude, but is he the third option?
That's
probably
makes it difficult.
You're not ahead of Njoku in that offense. You're not ahead of Cooper. So is it you or Elijah? I think
that's the problem because there's no clear pathway. If he would have went to any of those quarterbacks, or even if he went to Dallas, clear number 2. He went to the Cardinals and they let Marvin Harrison Jr. walk. He's easily number 2, or not Hollywood Brown walk. He's easily number 2. You get what I'm saying? There's no clear pathway now.
I actually think Michael Wilson would have been ahead of him, but I mean, anyway, it is good to know where he is now. It's not exciting, but anyway, Marvin Mims, you keep him because who knows what happens. I would say if I can get, I'm not gonna say any second, but if I can get a second that's the 201 to the 208, I'm probably taking that.
For Marvin Mims.
Yeah, I'd rather have the second in this class.
Yeah, do they have a second round pick, the Broncos?
No, they don't.
Yeah, but I guess the class.
They could draft a wide receiver in round 3 or 4 that I think is better than Mims.
And still get the value. Yeah, okay. I'm happy with that as well.
Anyway, we're getting off track here, but the wide receiver room is decent. It's not up to par for this starting lineup. You can start 5, and this isn't going to cut it for right now. He knows that. We got pieces to improve it, but Tank Dell, Jason, and what we didn't even talk about, which we don't want to go on another rant, but I hate the Tyler Lockett restructure.
That's where I was going to go to next, because I know it wasn't even like a big narrative, I think, in the fantasy community, not just from you, but even myself, was that Jackson Smith and Jigba takes the next step once Tyler Lockett's gone, right? And we saw him definitely take baby steps last year, but now it's never going to be like fully unleashed until Tyler Lockett is officially gone. And he restructures his deal to at least stay for another year. I don't think he stays until at the end of 2025. But that just hinders and puts Jackson Smith and Jigba on the back seat there. Unless
it's a 2-year, $30 million contract restructure. So, dude, I don't know. It just sucks, honestly. It's not what you wanted to see for a JSN breakout. But we can talk about this. It sucks. I do honestly think Lockett is not the same player he was once. So I'm not going to sit here and say, like, JSN's going to take a huge step this year no matter what. I don't care what's going to happen. I'm not going to consider any of the context. But what I would say is I do think that this could present a nice buy low. Like, could JSN fall into the 30s of rankings for wide receivers? Could you get JSN for a second-round pick soon? Like, those are the kind of conversations I'm starting to think about. But
I think that's probably already the case. And now you have, on paper, the wide receiver 3 on the team for this year, and you know that's locked in. Now, that can change in season.
Well, I don't think it's locked in, personally.
Okay, I think it changes in season for sure. I don't think anyone's confident going into this season saying that Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to overtake Tyler Lockett.
No.
And that's just unfortunate.
Anyway, look, don't sell him, because
you can't sell him.
There's not a sell window. But tight end, you got Dalton Kincaid. That's great. All right, shall we go to the whiteboard and talk about these picks? Because clearly there are some moves that we can make. We can't really trade down, actually, when I'm looking at this team, because we want to stay at minimum in the area we are already in. Unless you're seeing that differently than me. Like, I'm not trying to trade down from the 106 or the 104. That's where I want to be already.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely agree. I'm just trying to get a understanding of who has the top 3 picks here and where he could potentially get.
And I don't want to trade up because I already love this top 5. But so let's talk about what is possible for this team. The good news is it's a very good class to have a good amount of picks. And Lucas is in the chat. We always want to hear him. I see Ryan, who donated a super chat. Ryan, after we're done with Lucas's team, we will absolutely take time to answer your question. We see all the love and all the support in the chat, guys. We just want to make sure we give Lucas his time in the spotlight here, but we absolutely will answer that super chat in a second. But we love chatting to people in the comments. Lucas says, my main question with my picks is if Neighbors is gone, do I go Bowers? Remember, full tight end premium. So he's asking basically at this 104 pick. And if it were me, even in this format, I think I'm still going to May or Daniels, assuming they're there. So he's thinking the first 4 picks will be Caleb, Marvin, and then he's saying either Brock or Neighbors. And I know you have, like, your league has nerfed quarterbacks, but I would still go May or Daniels over a Brock. Now, if Neighbors is there, I do think that changes things. I actually think I would go Neighbors in this format over those quarterbacks. So for me, and I guess I'll ask you as well, Badaki, in order, I think I'd go Neighbors, May, Daniels. Actually, I'm so sorry. Regardless of what happens there, I'm going Neighbors or Bowers, and I'll tell you why. Because we are controlling the draft to get May or Daniels at the 106. That's actually way easier. I don't know why that didn't click in my head earlier.
Yeah. Um, I'll rock with that as well. I'm just thinking that the 102. So here we go. Quarterback. I'm just looking at what these guys would do. But yes, I
Sure.
would do that as
What
well.
what does the 103 have? Do you know what team the 103 is?
Yeah. So the 103 is
Oh
Team
my god.
Drew, Team 11.
Team
He
5's name is
clearly
ridiculous. Okay,
he
good.
clearly needs a quarterback.
Yes.
Um, but at the same time, the premium is pretty high. I think for these tight ends, like it wouldn't cross my mind if Brock Bowers is the top 4 pick in this tight end premium,
Yeah, I agree.
since the quarterbacks are nerfed here.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I think one of these quarterbacks is definitely going to fall to you. It just all depends on the wide receiver and if Neighbors. I think Neighbors has a higher chance of falling to you now, based off these quarterbacks.
Lucas
The 101.
said, I know it's going Caleb, Marvin. I don't know what Team 3 is doing. He sold Chase for number 3. He sold Jamar Chase for a 103.
So that means he wants a quarterback. That guarantees you, in my opinion, that he's going for a quarterback. Unless he just thinks Malik Neighbors is a god and 100% is better than...
Malik Neighbors is a god, but that's a ridiculous move. Anyway, no, I'm not here to roast your league mates, but what the hell?
I think he either has to go a quarterback, unless, once again, he thinks Malik Neighbors is already better than Jamar Chase. Or as a prospect. He could think that.
So let's play out all 3 scenarios. Okay. Scenario 1 is, let's make this easier on us. We know the 101, we know the 102. We just have to kind of play out the scenarios of what happens at the 103. Caleb, Marvin, right? And then let's play out a couple scenarios where a quarterback goes here. Let's say he does take Jaden Daniels here, okay? If Daniels is off the board, that does make things a little bit riskier at the 104, because regardless, you're going to get Neighbors or Bowers, but you will not have access to a quarterback if 105 goes there. What does a 105 have?
105 is 102. So 105 is getting Marvin Harrison Jr. and a quarterback. He's going to control.
Do we know what team that is?
Team 7. Ocho Stinko.
Yeah, he's going to go quarterback.
He's going Marvin Harrison Jr. quarterback.
Are you
Doesn't
sure,
matter
though?
which one.
I know that makes sense, but he does not have a tight end he probably loves. Although Dalton Schultz just signed to a big
But he
deal.
doesn't have a quarterback either. Like, you have Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, unless he's an Aaron Rodgers believer. Like, it's Dynasty. You know, you got to build around that quarterback. But we could be wrong. Maybe he skews it up.
I think you and I would agree, even in this format, we're going quarterback over tight end.
Yeah.
Right? So if that is the case, then we're taking Drake May here. And then that's going to leave us with Neighbors or Bowers. And either way, that's fine. Both of those are big needs for us. Yeah. Let's play out scenario 2 here, which is instead at the 103, he goes Brock Bowers, for example.
By the way, 110, best player available, that can be a plethora of names. That can even be another quarterback. That can be,
McCarthy.
McCarthy, Bo Nix,
Mitchell.
Xavier Worthy, Lam McConkey. All those guys can go at the 110.
And all those are big needs for you. How about, would you consider Benson here? Or no?
For
this team?
I think it just all depends on the draft capital of everyone else.
Yeah, that's true. If Benson goes round 2, you could probably consider him here, but that's a little, we're putting the horse ahead of the carriage, or the carriage ahead of the horse. Anyway, so if Bowers goes at the 103, we will probably be able to go Malik Neighbors there. And then whoever falls to us, that's fine. May or Daniels. Right? That's the way we play this, correct?
Agreed.
Now, scenario 3 is where they go Malik Neighbors. Okay? So they go Malik Neighbors here. And I would say same thing as we just talked about. Brock Bowers is our pick. And then May or Daniels at the 106 is what we go. So those are your 3 scenarios. Remember, guys, when you do these team reviews, feel free to bookmark this video on your browser. You can always come back and look at this, take screenshots and stuff. But those are the 3 scenarios I would play out. Let me ask you, Badaki, what is your ideal scenario for this team? What would you want to happen for this team? Looking at a lineup where we have Allen, Stroud, no quarterback 3. We need help at wide receiver for sure in this league. And we're okay at tight end. Like, what's your ideal scenario here? Because essentially we're either getting, so just tell us.
For me, I would personally go wide receiver, quarterback, whichever. Like, if Malik Neighbors falls to me.
So you prefer scenario 2?
Yeah, I prefer scenario 2. That's what I hope happens for me, because I get a QB3, and then you can flip one of these guys, or even flip the quarterback here, tier down from a quarterback, and then still get your elite wide receiver prospect. So, for example, you're probably never going to start Drake May or Jaden Daniels over CJ Stroud and Josh Allen. Can you tier down to get a Jared Goff and some more in the future, and then still have your elite wide receiver prospect in Malik Neighbors? A hypothetical, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I really want to do as a future move if that does happen for me. Because I understand, Lucas, you're probably thinking, well, I get it having my QB3, but like having the top 3 guys is going to be hard to really figure out who you want to be starting week in and week out. You're going to set and forget, and then have a 3rd quarterback just in case. You
almost need 3 quarterbacks anyway. And if a quarterback hits, we know this. If a quarterback hits, they are the ultimate values in SuperFlex leagues, even in yours where they are nerfed. So, yeah, I think scenario 2 is probably my favorite as well. Y'all know I'm a Malik Neighbors guy, but still, I think that's a great scenario. I would say in order, I'd probably prefer scenario 2 first. I would say scenario 3 is my 2nd favorite because of the premium in this league, the tight end premium in this league. And then I think scenario 1's my least favorite, but still a very good situation. Either way, you're sitting pretty. What I would say is, like, keep in mind, if Brock Bowers, again, we say this all the time, but keep in mind, last year Michael Mayer was a locked and loaded top 15 pick. There's no way he's getting out of the top 15. There's no scenario. People commenting on our videos, you're an idiot. There's no way Mayer's going anywhere outside the top 15. He's not a first-round pick. Clearly, we all agree, Brock Bowers is a way better prospect than Michael Mayer. But all I'm saying is, if Brock Bowers does fall, how far does he fall, right? Then we'll have to have a different conversation. But anyway,
the whole conversation is completely different with Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer didn't test well, had the size. Brock Bowers didn't test, but doesn't have the size that everyone is wanting, which is crazy.
Not the traditional, Laporta, Kelsey, that size for sure. But
yeah,
he's got enough. But yeah, I think let's play out scenario 2, our favorite scenario. All of a sudden, your team now, let's say you actually got Adonai Mitchell, for example, at the 110. So all of a sudden now, remember, where you can start 5 wide receivers, your quarterback room is looking real strong. You got Allen, Stroud, you got Drake May. Your running backs are the same, but at wide receiver, we've added Malik Neighbors. He's going to be our wide receiver 1. We've got Dell, we've got JSN, we've got Adonai Mitchell, we've got Godwin. Those are 5 wide receivers we feel good about. I'm not going to say these guys are winning you championships, but they're good values. Godwin, I wouldn't be opposed to selling in season if he pops off.
That's what I was going to say. I wasn't even going to say. This is what I was going to say about Chris Godwin. What is his value now? And can I just get a random second there and be okay with that value that I'm getting in that 2nd round? Because you think of the 2nd round list, you think of the Xavier Leggettes, you think of Roman Wilsons, Jermaine Burtons. You think these guys are going to have decent draft capital and maybe some opportunity. And it kind of resets that wide receiver clock for you as well. Chris Godwin has a torn ACL. This resets it. He goes younger. You can go younger there. And we already seen the year with Chris Godwin and Baker Mayfield. It's clear Mike Evans is the number 1 guy there. And I'm not necessarily sure how high his ceiling could potentially, if he can raise his ceiling at all, with Baker Mayfield highly favoring Mike Evans with that 2-year contract extension. So I think I want to move away from Chris Godwin now, if I could.
We can talk about what that looks like then, as far as like what values we could be looking for in return. So on Keep Trade Cut, you were talking about Godwin, I looked around the roster. I said I could probably move on from Kamara in this league too. We don't have to right now. He'll be easier to sell in season, but if I can get a mid-second for Kamara, I do that in a heartbeat and take a shot on one of these running backs that are coming into this class, or even add to your wide receiver room, which is what you want to build around right now anyway. You can figure out running backs later. You can buy a veteran later if you feel like you're competing. But Kamara, what were you looking for to get for Godwin?
I'm looking a mid-second, maybe 204, 205.
I think that might be too rich now with Evans back.
Around there.
You think 204? Okay, I mean, you're right. I mean, if that's possible, 100%, I'm with you there. I didn't think that'd be possible.
Yeah.
Wonder what my rankings say. Let me see. We don't have like the specific pick, so it might not be. I just genuinely don't know what my rankings would say. Yeah, you win. You win this deal. That's how I feel. I feel like if you get an early second, you win.
Yeah.
Same for Kamara. I feel like if you get an early second, you win. He's my RB20, so it's not like I hate him or anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, look, if you can get 2 early seconds for Kamara, and I think I would rather hold on to Kamara because I think we know his floor at the Saints, and even at his age, which is really not terrible. If he does go to a better offense where they can utilize him the right way, I think he picks up right where he left off. And can still be there potentially. That's how I
have
feel.
to just not be on the same page with you there. I get it, but to me, the only reason Alvin Kamara, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but the only reason he's even relevant in fantasy is because of the play callers around him and because of the contract that they gave him. He was one of the least efficient running backs in all of the NFL last year. Has no juice compared to what he used to have. He's not making explosive plays. If he goes somewhere else, it's like the Leonard Fournette treatment, in my opinion, where it's like you're slowly dying. So to me, if I get a second right now, you're not getting a second.
Look, I
somewhere else.
I guess when you compare it, I guess, yeah, like in your context, when I mean yours, I mean Lucas, and his team is not really going to be competing right now. Or you're just in that middle of that pack.
A lot has to go right for him to compete right now.
Exactly. The only reason why I say that is because I know Alvin Kamara, second, when he came back, I think he was like third, average, like he was third in the, what's it called? Fantasy points per game. Like he was scoring a significant amount of points per game when he was on the field. Now the efficiency wasn't there. I just think that he still scores fantasy points in the air, especially in the PPR format, which is valuable. But if you want to reset the clock, sure. If you can get an early second, because that could be Jonathan Brooks, that can be Trey Benson, that can be even Isaac Correndo or Jalen Wright, right? Like all those guys. Yes, I would probably take all those guys over Alvin Kamara right now if I knew where they were going. Insert a team with a lot of opportunity, 100%.
Yeah, for me, Alvin Kamara is a sell. I want to get a second. I want to get a mid-second. And ideally in this draft, I'd also say Godwin is a sell. Again, early to mid-second. I would like to have, just because we really, really love this class. I think a lot of people are telling you to do the opposite because we're overvaluing rookie picks. I just think this class is very, very good from our scouting grades. But yeah, with Alvin, I mean, I don't know, man. I just feel like his value would have already been shot if they did a coaching change this offseason. So I just feel like that's what people are waiting for. But Lucas did say, is it worth grabbing a quarterback at 10 instead of one of the top 3? My answer would be no, because first off, we don't even know if a quarterback's going to be available at 10. You have so many variables that you're working with, and you're kind of no longer giving yourself the power in the draft. You're giving everyone, you're relying on what other people are going to do at that point, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
to me, agree. I think 110 is too late to wait on a quarterback. You're already in a range to grab a really good one if the scenario works out. And what happens if McCarthy doesn't go in the first round? You know, there might not be a quarterback worthy of the 110. What if Bo Nix and Penix are third rounders? You know, we feel very confident about the draft capital of these wide receivers, which is giving us the confidence to draft them there. So don't miss out on those top prospects, in my opinion. But good team, man. Good team. You got some great pieces. You got some good draft capital. Ideally, if we can just get a little younger, Alvin, Godwin are all sells. I actually wouldn't be opposed to selling Javonte either if I can get like a late first. I know not everyone's going to agree.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying you have to. I feel fine to keep him. But And I do think he's going to be better this year, coming off that ACL. But I'm not opposed to shopping the market, which I think you talked about.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to shopping it either. I mean, obviously you saw that video when it's his time to go. Javonte Williams was on that list, just purely based on, I think Sean Payton is just going to wipe this team. And I know that's a lot of hypotheticals. And Javonte Williams is on his fourth year actually. Torn ACL already. I think he might find a running back in free agency to compete with him or in this NFL class. Yeah, NFL draft. So
I keep seeing this narrative that like, hey, Sean Payton turned Alvin Kamara into a PPR god, so he's going to do that for Javonte. Well, they're two very different players. They're not the same players at all. Javante's never going to catch 100 balls. You know, it's never going to happen.
And you're seeing like that process happen now. Like, what is it? Justin Simmons is essentially going to go free agency. They released Russell Wilson. Jerry Jeudy just got traded away. Cortland Sutton is apparently on the block. You know, these key players, both on offense and defensive side of the ball, are getting shopped right now because I think Sean Payton's, you know what, I want to build my own team now. And I think Javonte Williams could be a casualty of that when it comes down to the fantasy value. So.
Lucas did say, I tried to sell him, no one wants him. Yeah, those two, that's not surprising to me. These are guys that people want in season, not right now, not when they're trying to build a young roster. So it might not be the right time. Wait till in season when Kamara's a top 5 running back in PPR leagues and when Godwin's a top 30, you know, drafted guy. So wait for the right time. Now is probably not the right time, but just have that in the back of your mind, you know. And hey, maybe Neighbors comes off the ground running and you get Mitchell and he does too, and you're all of a sudden like, I'll keep Kamara. So you got flexibility. Lucas, if you have any questions for us, let us know. I think you do have a very good team here. You've got good foundational pieces with Allen and Stroud. Your draft picks, we walked through the scenarios of what you could do with them. So let us know if you have any final questions before we move on to the next team. We want to make sure we've answered all of your questions. We did get a super chat from Ryan, so we'll answer that now. As we wait to see if we got any last questions from Lucas there. 1 quarterback, 12 team, have PPR. He's got 101, 104, 105. Who should I get? Have Bryce and Russ at quarterback. JSN, Nico, Flowers, J-Mo. So, Ryan, this is probably not what you want to hear, but it's genuinely advice that we would give any single person at any moment. Take the best player available. And at the 101, that's probably where you're struggling the most. Is that Caleb? Is that Marvin? Because that's where things get tough. They're both the best player available. He has Bryce and Russ at quarterback. That's enough for me to say, okay, we're going to grab Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly where I was going. I said this person, I think I wouldn't even be opposed to trading back from the 105 to get somebody like a Caleb Williams.
The 101? What do you mean trading back from the 105?
This is a 1 quarterback.
Okay, my bad. I just realized that was 1 quarterback. Ignore what I just said.
So
the 101 is clearly Marvin.
Yeah, and then 104 was that Brian Thomas, Brock Bowers, and then the 105 you could get next best player available, but I'm willing to trade back. In that scenario.
I like that.
And then I've been saying this all season. If I'm in a 1 quarterback league and I don't have a top 10 quarterback, I'm wanting to go and get my quarterback in this draft, and Caleb, Daniels, or May here. And I think that really resets your whole team in the right direction. So
I'd be willing to trade back if you really do want to address quarterback. Try and get to the 109 to the 112, somewhere around there. I don't mind if you end up with Daniels or Caleb or whatever. That's totally fine with me. But do not take a quarterback at the 105 because that won't be the best player available. But yeah, I'd say Marvin, then Brock or Brian or Adunze at the 104, whoever's available. Adunze, Bowers, Brian in that order. And at the 105, we want to trade back ideally. And if you can't trade back, just take the best player available, which would be one of those names we just talked about. But we appreciate you, Ryan. And he says
thank you so
he
much.
has Kincaid at tight end. It doesn't matter. See, this is what we talk about. Take best player available. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you already have 3 tight ends. If Bowers is the best value on the board, take him. So if you have 3 tight ends, your league is going to need tight ends. You know, like you've got them. He says, my dream is to pull Marvin, Caleb, and Brian Thomas. Yeah, that would be a great haul. I like that haul.
Yeah, I'll be okay with that as well. So just try. Honestly, I would definitely shop the 105. See, maybe if you can get the 109 and I don't know, the 109 and the 112 if somebody has it. The 109 and the 111, you can get one of those guys that can be Lab McConkleys. You can get a Drake mate and a Lab McConkey on your team, hypothetically, right? Depending on how much value you can get trading back into that first round. Maybe that's a pipe dream. Maybe that's too much for me, but still, you know what I mean. That could be another running back if you need a running back as well. Like Trey Benson can go in the first there as well. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next team. Lucas said, "Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I have questions on an orphan I grabbed, but I sent that in the hotline." Absolutely. We will reply to you over in the hotline here at some point today, but we appreciate you big time, Lucas. Hey, guys, if you're watching this and you're thinking, wait, why are these guys getting their team reviewed? Like, why can't it be me? Well, it can be you. It's very simple. All you need to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. So sign up to the Flock Fantasy website with the promo code LAND. You will get a Dynasty team review. You'll get the 2024 Rookie Report, which we just released version 3.0 today before we went live. You'll get our premium trade calculator, complete rankings, personalized DM advice, all articles, all databases, etc. So become a Mother Flocker member if you want to. And unfortunately, guys, today is not a Q&A. We are trying our best to stay on track to help those people who are supporting us. So, we would be more active in replying to the chat if it wasn't this kind of stream, but we're just trying to give those people who are supporting us their time in the spotlight, if you get what I'm saying. So the next team that we're going to look at today, big shout out to Big Bishop. Maybe at the end we'll leave time for Q&A, maybe. But the next team we're looking at is Dodgesteel.
Dip, dive, dodge.
He's got a flea flicker, which I think we can look at, but go ahead.
Yeah, let me just pull this up. All right, Dodge says, "What's up, guys? First time with a flocker, flocking it." I love that. I love the context from y'all. Looking forward to some hard truths. Okay, we appreciate you.
All right.
So here's a flea flicker URL. I said most of. Okay, awesome. 12 team Dynasty, half PPR, 30 keeper. Roster requirements: 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2, and then 2 flex spots.
We got to wrap our head around this. Okay, hold on. 12-team Dynasty, but it's 30 keepers. So 30 keepers, but you have 9 starters, 16 bench spots. I'm trying to do the math in my head. What is the keeper part about? 9 plus 16 plus 5 on your taxi, that is 30 players. Isn't that just Dynasty then? Or is there like a specific rule in there that I'm missing?
That's what I'm trying to understand. Like, you can't keep? Well, first of all, you're not rostering 30 people on your team, are you?
You are.
Okay, so
9 starters, 16 bench, and 5.
Oh, right.
taxi.
So 9 plus 16 plus
5.
Plus
the
5,
IR we
right.
don't count.
Right. Okay.
Let me know. And by the way, is Dodge in the chat? Because we did message him earlier. We said we'd do him second. Maybe that is Roger here. It's probably Roger and Garcia. But just let us know. Is there any because sometimes people have this weird rule where they have certain keeper settings, but it is a Dynasty, but a couple players go back into the pool. Let us know if that's the case or not. But it looks like a 1 quarterback league.
Yeah.
2 running back, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 2 flex spots.
Okay.
Hell
yeah.
So Roger's in the chat with us.
Okay. Awesome.
Sorry.
Just
go
clarify
ahead.
that for us. If you have a second, as I continue with this context. First time in the Dynasty League this past season. I've set out last year when we had our startup draft to draft a team that we'd be winning year 2 or 3. Drafted a handful of players that I've hoped would have a breakout year, and at 0-14 fell flat on my face. Yeah,
hey,
I mean,
I'd rather be 0-14 than 7-7 and missing the playoffs.
Yeah,
okay?
Because I'm a Steelers fan, so drafted a few homeboys and made a couple trades last season to acquire Pickett. Eventually, unlucky. Just recently traded Shakira and a 25 third for Kendre Miller. I don't mind that trade.
If I'm not mistaken, he sent that trade in the hotline, and we were like, "That's the easiest win of your life."
Yeah,
Get Kendre
yeah.
Miller.
Going into second year of our Dynasty League, here's what I'm working with heading into my first rookie drafts. So you have the 105, 201, 305, 405, and the 505. So decent draft capital here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 101 is locked in. The guy at the 102 recently became an orphan, and now new owner may or may not be open to trading down for the right pieces. Same kind of thing goes for the 103 who wants Neighbors, Odunze, or Bowers. But I would really only be down for an in-draft trade. Example, if I land Bowers, he may be considered trading Neighbors or slash Odunze for him. Okay, the 104 is not as involved, so probably won't know much until draft slash post draft. Sitting at the 105 was thinking at this point maybe Brian Thomas if I don't trade up. Just looking for some good guidance forward at 0-14. I'm willing to hear everything and anything y'all got for me. Thanks, RJ. We appreciate you.
Let's just say this: like, first of all, we love someone who's aware and saying, "Hey, my first year in Dynasty, I might not have done some things right. Just tell me what I didn't do right." I love that you've opened that door for us to now tell you that you did awful. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure you built a good team. We can totally look at Flea Flicker, by the way. That's fine.
Yes, we definitely can.
And like I said, 0-14 is better than 7-7. It's better than 7-7 and being nowhere. What I want to know is, how did you go 0-14 and end up with pick 105?
Yeah, he must have.
How does that work? Does your team do a draft lottery and you just got screwed over? Or what's like, how did those things come together? I want to know. But we do have his team here. His team name is Murphy's Law Huddle, correct?
Yeah, Murphy's Law Huddle. That's his team. That's the link that he sent here. And then starting off at the quarterback position, looks like you have Kyler Murray, Aiden O'Connell, and then Kenny Pickett. In a one quarterback league, I think this is a phenomenal start. Kyler Murray and then Aiden O'Connell, if they don't get a quarterback, and he is somebody that's competing with insert veteran quarterback, he can definitely win out that job. So I'm okay here with Kyler Murray.
Did you find a way to sort by position, or are you just looking?
No, I'm just looking through it. Okay, unfortunately,
okay. No, that's fine.
So I think the quarterback position is fine.
Sorry, I'm just trying to like play around with this site. Go ahead.
Yeah, I tried to do on the left there too. It just didn't work.
In a one quarterback, like, yeah, this is totally enough for a one quarterback format. If I had Kyler and no one behind him, I'd feel fine going into the season. He did say, so our league has a toilet bowl to help eliminate intentionally tanking. I love that. We do the same thing. And we add like a pick on the end for whoever wins the toilet bowl. And by the way, I don't want to be like, oh, we did that, we're those guys, but I actually think that was our idea. I think we birthed that idea multiple years ago, and which is cool to see that going around. But
yeah,
should have coined it. We should have trademarked it.
Yeah, we should have done something. We should trademark a lot
there
of things.
There are like multiple cents on the table that we left in our bank account for that trademark.
Running back position here, looks like you have Najee Harris, Kendre Miller, Jerome Ford there with also group. Yeah, Antonio Gibson on the bench, Chase Brown.
I like that.
Downtown on the bench, and that's about
Tank is on the taxi squad. You
know,
that's not a bad running back room. Is it a championship winning running back room? No, but we know that.
Yeah, but it says start 3, by the way, unless it's just viewed that way because is that a flex spot?
Must just be.
No, it says 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and then 2 flex spots. So I'm assuming that 3rd running back is a flex spot technically.
That's weird that it would be in that order, but anyway. Look,
yeah,
you've got Najee, Kendre, and Jerome Ford. That's a good group. I wouldn't say you feel like super confident in any of those guys yet. I do think Kendre could break out this year. I do think Najee's an interesting keep with the new changes over there. With butt chin coming in. What's his name? Arthur Smith. He doesn't even have a butt chin. Why did I call him that? Anyway, Jerome Ford, with Nick Chubb coming back, we'll see. But I love Chase Brown just sitting on the bench. I love him just chilling like a villain over there. How did this team go 0-14, by the way? Nick said that in the chat. He's like, I really solid for 0-14. How did they go?
You think about it, like these guys weren't going off. Kyler Murray was injured half of the season. So he probably had Aiden O'Connell, who didn't start until the second half
Yeah.
of the season because Kenny Pickett was shit the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Najee Harris was up and down. Kendre Miller didn't play not one game. Jerome Ford came out week 2. Devonta Smith up and down. You know, Garrett Wilson, Rashid Shaheed, who?
Garrett Wilson had no quarterback. Yeah, I mean, so yeah,
You
that
know,
makes sense
like,
actually once you walk through it.
Yeah, once you walk through it. All right, wide receiver position, Devonta Smith, George Pickens, Garrett Wilson, Rashid Shaheed. And on the bench, Demarcus Robinson, Nikiti Westbrook, Rashad Bateman, Calvin Austin, Kadarius Toney, Wes Watkins.
Two-time Super Bowl champion Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Toney.
Two-time Super Bowl champion.
A little pussy old boy.
And family-friendly stream. You know, take your anger somewhere else. You need to see
Parker Washington, Alec Pierce, and A.T. Perry also on the taxi squad here. So I would say maybe your wide receiver room is not the. I mean, let's really break it down. Devonta Smith would be, or not Devonta Smith, but like their top 3: Devonta Smith, Garrett Wilson, and George Pickens, who are starting currently, and then it falls off, right? Like there's no one else. There's no depth there when it comes down. So getting one of those wide receivers at that 105 that you kind of mentioned, I think you said Brian Thomas. I doubt Rome Odunze is going to be there. That could be something that could be of help for you, and then you can insert him into that Rashid Shaheed role right there in that second flex. But yeah, there's no depth there. I mean, Rashad Bateman is finally going to break out according to his head coach this year.
No.
Kadarius Toney is no longer going to be a football player, I guarantee, after this year. And that's not even hate. That's just like
now.
I think that and that he'll be a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
2-time Super Bowl champion Kadarius Toney. Okay, look. Well, let's walk through this. We know the picks that we've got. I wonder, does Flea Flicker have like somewhere where you can look at picks? I wonder if they have like. Oh, here we go. Picks. Nice. So, you have your first next year, which is great. And you have your first in 2026. Great. So, we're not like selling the farm. Look, you didn't do as bad as you think you did. All right? Garrett Wilson, every expectation is that he's going to be dominant when Aaron Rodgers is there. Devonta Smith, maybe not my favorite player, not consistent, but I would not be opposed to pivoting off of him. We'll talk about that. Najee Harris didn't perform the way that we wanted him to. Not much on the bench. But why don't we like talk about these picks and what we could potentially do with them? Because we do have at least some knowledge of where we think these picks will be. I'm just getting rid of these. So he said at the 101, can you remind me what he thought was happening at the 101?
Yeah, let me just pull that up really fast. At the 101 is locked. So I'm assuming that's Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 101. The guy at the 102.
It's probably Neighbors. Let's just assume in a one quarterback, it's Neighbors.
Yeah, same guy for the 103. He said Neighbors and Dante Bowers. No premium.
At least he doesn't say, so let us know if there is.
Yeah.
So no premium, let's assume.
104, guy's not involved, so I'm assuming just best player available.
You're honestly kind of like right outside where we want to be in a one quarterback. You know, really ideally we want to get Marvin. We want to get Neighbors, Odunze in this order in a non-tight premium, and then Bowers. I would love to trade up to the 103. But at the same time, like your team is not in a position where you can afford to lose picks. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not in a position where, like the 201 is so valuable to this team in its current state.
Is it worth maybe trading back from the 105 and getting some value somewhere else?
I like that idea.
Because maybe you can get. Let me just pull his team back up here. I'm a little bit confused. Okay, roster. Najee Harris, Kendre Miller, Jerome Ford. Like, what can I get for the 105 for someone that loves a Brian Thomas Jr. there? And can I trade back to the 109?
Okay, so what is a pick you're targeting them? And let's talk about the players we anticipate being available there.
Well, the picks that I'm target or I'm thinking more of the players. Like I would
Yeah.
love a Trey Benson on this team if I could,
Okay.
and then a wide receiver. If I can get a Lyle McConkey, if I can get a I don't know, Xavier Leggett, an Xavier Worthy.
So let's say 8 to
Like
10.
I want to do a 2-for-1 deal here, still being in the first round if that's possible.
You
For
want to get
someone,
the 108 to the 110 if we're trading back here, because this is not a team where we can afford to trade up for in a doomsday. Like, let's state the obvious. If you can trade the 105 and Jerome Ford, right? If you can trade the 105 plus Jerome Ford for the 103, you do it in a heartbeat. But that's just not going to happen, right? We just don't think that's going to happen. But if you can do that, you do it in a heartbeat. But at the 105, and we're not really a team where we can like afford to like lose a Pickens. I know it's all about like, you know, your starting lineup and stuff. But guys, we got Chigakonko starting. We got Rashid Shaheed starting, it looks like. We're not in a position where we can consolidate. How many starters again?
it's a lot of starters.
9 starters. 9 starters.
Oh, 9 starters.
Not
Okay.
too bad, but a one quarterback, you know. So I just don't think we can afford to lose those guys. I mean, can you afford to lose a Pickens? And if they do sign Russell Wilson, if Pickens has a breakout or something, you know, or they get Justin Fields or whatever, maybe they draft Bo Nix. Can you afford to not have a Pickens on your team? Or can you afford to move a Devonta Smith? We can talk about pivoting off of him, like names that are hot. Honestly,
Okay.
I
So,
might be willing to
sorry.
pivot off of Garrett Wilson too, but let's start with the pivot back from the 105.
Okay.
Because this was your idea here.
Yeah. Pivoting back from the 105, no question. I'm so sorry. I just found another link here. I just found a link to where you can see the rosters. Like all the rosters.
Okay.
So on the top left on that flea flicker and press league, you can go. It has like standings, rules, scoring, playoffs, rosters. It's not
rosters.
It's not the best layout, but at least you can see the gist of the team a little bit. It doesn't show doesn't show the picks well, unfortunately. So like for example,
what we need to know is where these picks are associated with these teams.
Yeah, I think the best way we can find that out is if we click on the actual team. So then if you go to like standings and then click on that team, I think you can click into it and then see their draft capital.
Okay, so let's find who has the 108, the 109, and the 110. That is our goal right now.
Yeah, that is
108, 109. So I know who has the 109. It's 212th Legion. So we can look at his team.
Okay, let me just open this guy up. Which 212th Legion? Okay,
111. We can talk about this guy. You go from the bottom, by the way, of those teams. I know who has a 108. Literally, Dontavion Wicks. Literally hitting the Gwitty. That guy is a 107. We can talk about that.
Cyber system. Gosh. I got nothing. I got no picks down here.
Yeah, I see a lot of people talking about how Pickens is overrated and stuff. We want to move off of him. Guys, think about it. In your league, is Pickens going to bring the return that you're talking about here? Are you going to be able to move Pickens in a pick to get neighbors? You know, just keep in mind, a lot of people feel this way. Pickens is overrated. That's why he's not ranked highly in any dynasty rankings. So I hear you guys, but also with this roster, what are we going to trade him for? I mean, it's just not worth it for us to trade him. In most formats, in most leagues, people are not sending the house for George Pickens. So we got to keep that in mind. Do you know who has the 10?
Yeah, 108 Alpha Blanco.
I just need to know who has a 110, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's see. I haven't seen the 110.
But of course, if you can move Pickens and somehow land in neighbors, we would always tell you to do that. I just don't think he has. Okay, now I'm confused because it says this guy has a 109.
It attained. Wait.
So if it's in red,
if it's in red, that means they had it and they traded it
they don't
away.
have it anymore.
Yes.
Good lord.
Okay.
Okay.
That is very confusing.
So I know it has a 109. We got to start all over.
I know who has the 108. Okay.
Who has a 108 then?
108 is Alpha Blanco.
Alpha Blanco. Okay. So that's the 108. Great. We know he has a 108. We know he has a 109 in Taco Cat.
Okay,
We know he has
so
a 107.
I found the 10. Yeah, Taco Cat has 9, 10, 11. Right?
Yeah, you're right. 9, 10, 11. Okay, cool. Great. 108, 109, 1. Okay, cool. So really, Taco Cat is kind of our main.
Yeah,
Taco
our main
Cat
guy here.
Is our main boy here. What you want, Taco Cat?
Well, Taco has like a stacked team,
Yeah,
low key though.
He got a freaking roster, doesn't he? But
well,
like,
I mean, you could just make his team better with the 105 if he views it that way.
Instantly, you and I, like, here are the players that we would be fine. And if Taco Cat wants to give us, because remember, he has picks 9, 10, 11, right? So 105 for the 109 to the 111. This is Taco Cat. And hey, bro, if you want to give us any one of these picks and these players, we'll do it. Zay Flowers was one of the names that came to mind for me.
Yeah,
I saw that. James Cook.
Yep.
What was the other names on there you liked?
I'm not sure of the pricing, but like he has Nico and Tank. Does he want to get rid of one of those guys? So Nico or
Tank, 100%.
Yeah. I'll do one of those. I think everyone else is untouchable. All depends on what he sees, how he sees Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice, yeah, that's a great name because some people don't realize how good he actually is.
And I think that's about it, though. I mean, I don't think there's anyone else
that he'd be willing to part with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has Sam Lo. Yeah.
No, he's not going to get rid of Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monty doesn't really fit our timeline. Yeah. So any pick you want to give me, hey man, I'll take the 105 and I'll take the 111. You can give me Flowers or Cook or Rice. We would do any single one of those deals. He says usually guys don't love owning 2 wide receivers from one team, so buying one of those Houston guys makes sense. 100%. Hey man, give me the 105, and you obviously don't start the 111, by the way. Roger's in the chat with us. You know, you usually don't start with the 111, but send him an offer. 105, give me the 110 and Nico Collins. Oh, I actually like Nico better than Tank. That's fine. Now I'll counter. Give me the 105 and the 110 for Tank Dell. He counters back. I'm not going to give you the 110. I'll give you the 111. That's fine. Right? Like, those are the kind of conversations you're going to start having. But any one of these names here, you and I'd be super comfortable. And Taco Cat's really your homeboy here. You know, that's the guy you need to, you know, get close with.
Really your homeboy. I mean, it's true. He is. And look, you're going based off depth here. You kind of need depth. You have none in this lineup. You're still going to get your top players, at least you hope, here in this draft. But once again,
it's not even so much depth. It's just we need good players on this team and see if they break out, if their value rises. You know, if we get a Tank Dell and he ends up being a top 5 wide receiver next year, if we get a Zay Flowers and he gets 145 targets, you know, and we add another pick, because we're at a point where we're relying on Rashid Shaheed. You know, we can't just sell all of our picks, sell all of our players and move up, and then we have one good player on our team and Malik Neighbors and no one else, or a Marvin Harrison and no one else that we can really rely on. You know, it's just like at this point, it's just, I know we want those players, but it's not going to help our team, I don't think.
I agree.
We also talked about Alpha Banco, who has a 108. Shall we discuss options with him?
This feels a little bit more doable in a weird way. He doesn't have any running backs. He has Derrick Henry. He has Nick Chubb on IR. So that actually is a prime move for him. But let me just
what are players on his team we want to target? I mean, we could even look at his picks. I mean, like in this format, as crazy as it sounds, like I would be almost willing to even just grab the 2-3 as well. Is that crazy to be like the 108 and the 203 for the 105? Because am I really that certain that Brian Thomas is going to be a superstar, where I wouldn't be happy with a Mitchell here at the 108.
Right.
Do you know what
okay.
I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
I'm not saying that that's our ideal scenario, but what if we can go out and get, well, you're not going to get Olave. Yeah, he might not be a very good natural trade down, is he, with the team that he has?
Well, yeah, he does exactly. So if he's also thinking about, hey, I need depth because he doesn't have any, or he's struggling with people, but he still wants to get a top 5 pick in Brian Thomas, then yeah, you can definitely get the 108 and the 203. But he has a 103, so he's getting another wide receiver, no question.
Yeah. You know, Cooper Kupp is not okay. So we don't want Cooper Kupp. We don't want Deontay Johnson on this team. I mean, maybe Deontay, but that's not worth trading down. I'd rather just stay.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure if I want to be trading for.
This isn't a good team to trade with. Unless you can get Mark Andrews, but that's probably not happening. Like would you do this, Badaki? Would you get Mark Andrews and keep in mind, we don't have to keep Mark Andrews. We can sell him in season because we might not be competing right now. But forget that idea. I'll send you the 105. You'll give me the 108. But I'm also going to give you the 2. What do we have? Remind me. We have the 201. It feels a little rich.
If he's a Longhorn guy there, Roger, I mean, I'm saying, hey, I'm planning on taking one of those wide receivers. Well, he has 2. That's kind of the caveat there. He has 2 Longhorns, which is unfortunate.
It's not a tight end premium, so I don't really want to target Mark anyway. But yeah, look, this guy's not all right. Let's just scrap this. This isn't a good option for us. Yeah. The other option is literally Dontavion Wicks at the 107.
Right. Okay, that's his team. So he can trade up there to the 105.
Picks wise, nothing really makes sense here. The 209, maybe we can get involved. Let's just put that there because we know that he has it, not that it's the trade. But who does he have? He's got Etienne, Rashawn, Pacheco, Keenan, Wicks, Johnston. He's got a shocker of a roster.
He does. He doesn't have anyone that is, jumping out to me either. The only one I would be interested in, and this is just remote, I think, is Pacheco. The way he's been playing, top guy. I doubt you can get him for that though. Like, I don't know if I want. I definitely don't want like the 107 for an Isaiah Pacheco. Personally.
I would be willing to trade back for Pacheco because I'm only moving back 2 picks, but it just doesn't fit your timeline realistically.
Exactly, and I think that's kind of what I was thinking.
I really do think Taco Cat is your option here if you want to trade back.
Yeah.
Because we want to gain as much value on your team. That is option 1, trading back. Roger says he's possibly looking at grabbing Brooks with the 108, the guy who has that pick. I mean, keep in mind, if Jonathan Brooks, we've seen him mock to the Cowboys, right? Think about this. If he goes to the Cowboys in the 2nd round, you're in the chat and you're saying, oh my God, Jonathan Brooks, stock just rose. Give it a week. Send the offer. Yeah, you want Brooks? The price changed.
It's a mental game, no question about it.
The price changed.
It's the same thing with those Texas boys. Ooh, which one? You need to find out which one he loves, and then be like, that's the one I want, and that's what I'm going to be taking.
Yeah. Adonai Mitchell went to the Bills. I'll tell you what, he's probably not available at the 108 anymore, my guy. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
You want him?
Yeah.
Get him at the 105.
We can talk, though.
It's a pretty penny.
So that is your option to trade back. Now let's play out the scenario where we stick and pick. Because ultimately trading is difficult. It is difficult. You can do as much as you can, but we know Marvin's going. Let's assume Neighbors, Dunze, and Bowers are gone. In a 1 quarterback format, my best available player would be Brian Thomas.
Yeah, that's mine as well.
And that's fine because we do need help. We can't be starting Rashid Shaheed. We know this. We cannot be starting Rashid Shaheed in our flex spot. So that is totally fine. We grabbed Brian Thomas at the 201 in a one quarterback format. For me, that's where those quarterbacks are. But also, if a Benson is there, a Brooks is there, I don't feel like I need to go quarterback here. So I'd also say like for me, a Jalen McMillan. I know not everyone's on that same page. A Jalen Wright, a Marshawn Lloyd is in play here.
The range is pretty tremendous there. Yeah,
Ricky, Roman. So that's.
I think it just all depends. There. I think that list most likely would be solidified based off of that landing spot. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, with draft capital, that will help us answer that
100%.
question. But all of a sudden, I mean, your team's looking a little bit better. All of a sudden, we're not relying on Shaheed. And maybe we have a Benson in there, and our running back room looks a little bit better. But at the end of the day, this team is not competing for a championship, even if you make all the moves we just talked about. This team is not competing for a championship. So let's talk about players that we can pivot off of.
Yeah.
It's not because we don't like these players. It's because our team is bad. And we need to get insulated value. We need to look towards the future.
And then we can trade down. And that's all. I mean, this is what offseason is. Getting opportunity, getting value here for some of these guys. I know you kind of mentioned about Devonta Smith.
Smith, and I would even say, dude, Garrett Wilson, not now, in September. Right? When Aaron Rodgers is healthy, when everyone's like, oh my God, Garrett Wilson is actually going to break out now. You know, that is the time where you pivot off of Garrett Wilson. Not because we don't like the player, because you can't afford to keep Garrett Wilson right now. You know, if he is still a top 5 wide receiver heading into the year, your team cannot afford to keep him. It's not because we don't like him. It's because we have got to, we can't just go year after year with the same amount of draft picks. One player adding to our team, one source adding to our team. We've got to make some moves where we get insulated value. But sorry, continue.
No, I think that's about it. That's all I can think of where you can potentially get into the first round in this one quarterback if you wanted to sell during the off season or in season, right? Like before the season starts. I think Devonta Smith, Garrett Wilson. I think George Pickens' value is going to be fluctuating based off of the player. I know you said you're a Steelers. Was it him that was a Steelers fan? So I doubt you probably want to get rid of George Pickens or Najee Harris, but I'm happy to. I think a lot of win now teams probably love Najee Harris.
I'm sure they like him. I'm not that sure.
Yeah. Okay, maybe the word love was a little bit too much, but you know, if they need another running back, hey, Najee Harris, what can I get for him? I would also say Aiden O'Connell. Well, this is one quarterback, so it doesn't really matter when it comes down to him.
Yeah, I put George Pickens and Najee Harris in red because I don't personally believe, based off what we've seen in the market, that they are really like sell highs or players that people are in love with, you know. So we're not opposed to trading off of them, but it, like, if you're telling me I can trade George Pickens for a second-round pick next year, no, I'm not doing that. And how many people are giving you a first? It's not happening in most places.
I think a lot of people would definitely change their mind if Deontay Johnson walks. Or is traded and they get Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, or any of these quarterbacks are in the free agent market outside of Kenny Pickett, right?
So I think that narrative, Joe Flacco?
I think people will be in love with Big Dick Joe.
Yeah, a lot can change, and his price is already at worst case scenario in my mind in the community. I could be wrong. I totally could be right, but like right now, people have priced in that there is Deontay there. It is Kenny Pickett as the starter, like. You know, it doesn't feel like a good time to trade. I'm not going to say he's like a glaring buy because there are those concerns, but I haven't seen him being traded for like any huge values. But let's talk about Devonta Smith. Some names that I would like to pivot off of, and I'm not going to say like every league will do this. I wonder what he is on keep trade cut right now. He's wide receiver 16. That is too high in my opinion. It's not because I don't like him. But if you guys owned Devonta Smith last year, could you honestly tell me that you felt confident starting him most weeks? Because I owned him in redraft leagues, and I was like, I don't know if I can even start him. I have no idea. He's given me 6 points or 20 or maybe 13. Like, there was not even that many explosive games out of him. Yeah. So, did you feel that same way?
No, I definitely felt it in the second half. I was still believing in Devonta Smith. I think what's really hard with Devonta Smith is the quarterback play. But at the same time, the value and the players that we've been trying to trade for, based off of the community's rankings, I would definitely want over Devonta Smith. I think of Tank Dell. I don't know if Nico Collins is ahead of Devonta Smith anymore, but Rashee Rice, the DJ Moores, those guys I'm willing to pivot down, tier down to, and get some value off of
I'd add Drake
Devonta
London
Smith.
to that list.
Yeah.
I'd add, I mean, I know you talked about selling Jordan Addison, but I'd add him to this list too.
I get
Flowers. And
Zay
again,
Flowers
it's not
can-
because we don't like Devonta Smith. It's like we're trying to get +8 first for one of these players. That's ideally what we want to do. And hey, if I need to send you, by the way, a third as well to get this done, that's fine. We can do that. Or a second. Like, we can figure that out. Well, the point is getting your foot in the door to make one of these deals work.
And keep Trey Cup right now. Just by the way, Devonta Smith is one spot ahead of Roma Doomsday. Wide receiver 16, wide receiver 17.
T.
Can I
Higgins
trade
will add to that name. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud just because of, I doubt it. Maybe your league
Can
is
you get the
different.
103 you're asking?
Yeah, can I get the 103 for Devonta Smith right now and reset it with Roma Doomsday? Is that
That would be awesome if that's possible.
Yeah. Once again, according to Keep Trade Cuts rankings, they're back to back.
Yeah.
Right. And in reality, that's only going to rise if Roma Doomsday gets top 5.
He's going top.
8 draft
He's going
capital.
top 10.
Yeah. So like, I mean, insert the Chargers, the Giants, the Bears. That changes a lot of things for Roma Doomsday. So
And like, I don't love this name, but if I can, I mean, I do love this name, but like, if I would even go further down. Like, if I can get Jaden Reed in a first round pick for Devonta Smith, I'm doing that. Who else is lower in their rankings? I mean, what I was trying to say, I'm not a big fan of DK Metcalf, but still, if I can get DK Metcalf in a first for Devonta Smith, that's an absolute no-brainer for me. All these names are names that we try. Doesn't mean that it's all going to work out, but you put your foot in the door and, you kind of see what's possible. It doesn't always mean it's going to happen, but you try. And there are so many people that we have told to pivot off of Olave for Rashee Rice in a first, or Devonta Smith, or Jalen Waddle for these names that we've just mentioned in a first, and they've gotten those deals done. So
yeah.
Some names are brand names and they're big household names. Maddie says, when I trade a Waddle in a third, similar to Devonta, I got a first next year and Rice. There you go. That's great. That's the kind of deal we're looking for. And I think we were able to help Maddie get that done. So we're glad we're able to do those kind of deals and help people out. But that's the kind of trade we're looking for with Devonta Smith. Let's go further. I wouldn't even be opposed to like getting like 2 firsts next year as another option.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. By the way, I think Garrett Wilson. Oh yes, with Devonta Smith after, and then we can go to Garrett Wilson.
We'll go to Garrett Wilson next. Yeah.
Yeah.
This should get you a lot more return for Garrett Wilson. So, ideally, we can trade to all these same names, but more value in return. So, like, now I'm trying to get one of these names and 2 firsts. Like, 2 firsts and Jaden Reed for Garrett Wilson, that's going to help this team out a ton. 2 firsts and Rashee Rice. 2 firsts and Jordan Addison. 2 firsts and Zay Flowers. Not every team's going to do that, by the way. But the teams that are competing, and it's September. Remember what people thought of Garrett Wilson last year, guys. In redraft leagues, he was a first part of the second round pick. So, what is the team that's competing? And they're like, man, Garrett Wilson's going to put me over the top. What of these names do they have? Keep going, sorry.
And that's going to fluctuate, no question. I mean, once again, on Keep Trade Cut, wide receiver 7 in September, last year, he was like top 5, top 4 wide receivers. We were saying, well, people were taking Garrett Wilson over CeeDee Lamb. People were taking Garrett Wilson over A.J. Brown and over all these guys. Once that price is at its peak, that's when you go and take it. And, all that can change. All that can easily change in September. So I would agree. all those players, all those names at the right time. Sell at the right time.
Yeah. Wilson, Nick makes a great point. We should also talk about where, you're fine to take one first and a name, those names being like Olave, Waddle.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what we want to stay relatively young with this team. Olave, Waddle, probably Ayuk as well I'd put in there. I don't know about you, but I for sure would put him in that category.
Okay. I'll be interested for sure.
Yeah, so that's the kind of range you're talking about there. But look, at the end of the day, if we're 100% honest, your team is not good, and you know that. It's not good. You need to find ways to improve it in the future, and the only way we're going to do that is by pivoting off of names that are huge, getting equal or just as good value production, and future draft capital. So ideally, what you want this team to look like is, all right, I no longer have Garrett Wilson, but I have Rashee Rice in a first next, in 2 firsts next year. I no longer have Devonta Smith, but that's okay. I've got Jaden Reed and another first next year. So all of a sudden, I've got Kyler Murray, Najee Harris, Kendre Miller, Jaden Reed, Rashee Rice, George Pickens, and I've got 4 firsts in 2025 now, including my own. And I've also added Brian Thomas and Adonai Mitchell or Leggett or Lloyd to this team. And all of a sudden, we're like, okay, we're starting to build towards something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the right move. You just got to find the right values, the right trades, and then just continue to build from there, which is going to come naturally for you as well once the draft happens, and once everyone's understanding where these values are going to be for all those players. So keep that in mind. But yeah, use your hotline. You've been using your hotline already, but use your hotline even more if you have any other questions coming into this offseason.
In order at the 105, Odunze, Bowers, Brian Thomas of my preference in this format. Of course, if Brian Thomas goes to the Broncos and Odunze is like pick 20 to a different team, we can, Bowers is pick 20 to a different team, we can reassess. But those are the kind of moves we're trying to look at with this team. Get your foot in the door. And of course, this Garrett Wilson one, you might not be able to do now, but wait until September if you need to. Let us know, Roger, if you have any more questions. Because, again, at the moment, it is good that we have our picks. Oh, we don't have our second next year. Okay. So we don't have our second or third next year. Yeah. We got to improve somehow. So we're going to have to start pivoting.
Yeah.
But let us know if you have any final questions. This is your time to ask us whatever questions you have, uninterrupted. And we will obviously answer them for you. But let us know, Roger. Roger, if he's still in here. If not, all goods. Once again, use that fantasy hotline. We appreciate you. And, the reality is as well, by the way, we talked about a lot of options to trade. You might get one of these deals done. That's okay. Put your foot in the door. See what doors open. You guys did great, Roger says. I appreciate that, man.
I appreciate you.
Let us know in the hotline how all that goes for you. But we're glad to have helped. And hopefully that team, you feel a little bit better about. But we appreciate you big time. All right, guys. One more team tonight we're going to review. TD says, you guys put a lot of effort into your evaluations and advice. It's nice to see. Hey, we appreciate you, TD.
Hey, we appreciate
Let's give a shout out to TD, who's been supporting since day one.
OG triple OG, huh, TD?
TD is the definition of OG. Patreon days OG.
Love, man. We
appreciate you big time. In fact, one of our first leagues we ever started. Yeah, he just said it. Alpha. The first league we ever started, I don't even think we had 1,000 followers anywhere.
No.
Anywhere. I don't even think we had like over 1,000 views on any single video. And TD said, yeah, I'm going to support these guys. So big shout out to him. But
come on, baby. Talk it up.
All right. If you guys want your team graded, very simple. All you need to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. Once you become a member, all you need to do, again, have to be using the code LAND to get our team review. Go to the top right, hit account, link your Discord, And then you should unlock all of our premium Discord channels, just like Dodge here was able to do. Keep in mind, if you don't hit skip free trial, I think it's called instant access. If you don't click that option, you'll just have to wait for that free trial to end for your team review to be eligible. But also, guys, we just released version 3 of our 2024 rookie report this morning, or tonight, I guess, in your time. So that is hot off the press. You also get access to that when you become a Mother Flocker member, our rankings, the trade calculator, and a bunch more. Okay, cool. So the last team that we're going to look at today is steadzzz.
steadzzz here, and I'll go here with the context. Once again, we appreciate the support. Thank you so much. It says aloha from Maui, gentlemen. Aloha.
Ooh, come on.
He says, love your content and just had to use that land code to upgrade to the Mother Flocker tier. Come on, talk it up.
Let's go.
It up. 1 quarterback, Dynasty, non-tight end premium, half PPR with quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 4 flex spots, which is a start 10 with 15 bench spots. For context, we just finished our inaugural season. It's my first year ever playing Dynasty. I did not draft well in the startup. I did not understand the value, process, and things related to Dynasty football.
Hey,
I ended up, and that's okay.
Let's just start there. You're not alone.
That's okay.
You'll see a lot of these teams that we review are people who are saying, it was my first year, didn't know what I was doing. My friends took advantage of me in this league, and here I am now, or I didn't make the right moves. Hey, you're in the right spot.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's okay. He says, I ended up with the 103, 203, 303, and the 403. And after some trades, I now...
worldwide.
And now I have the 103, the 203, the 309. Okay, so you traded back to the third round to get a late third and a couple extra fourths there. It's not terrible. So I traded Joe Mixon and the 305 for Dameon Pierce, the 210 and the 410.
I gotta be honest, like, I'm not a huge fan of that deal. Let's just start there. Just because the 210 and the 303 at that point in the draft, there will be a huge group of players that you like. And I don't know that like 5 spots is going to make a difference to a player that I would consider dead in Dameon Pierce, to a guy who could be a starter in Joe Mixon and yield a 2nd round pick in season. So I'm not a huge fan of that deal personally.
Yeah, I would agree there. Since I traded Taysom Hill for Sky Moore in the 406.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it doesn't
the
really
406 is the most valuable asset there, oddly enough.
He says, I received Bijan Robinson in the 309 for Lamar Jackson, Jerome Ford, and the 210.
If that's a SuperFlex league, I do not like that.
It's one quarterback. It's one quarterback. I'm interested to know.
How did you get that deal done?
I don't know. It says, I then traded Kenneth Walker for Jaden Reed and the 306 and I traded Kenneth Walker for Jaden Reed and the 306 and flipped that 306 for Dak. Okay.
I mean, those last 2 moves are brilliant.
Yeah, I like that as well. So you got Bijan Robinson and then Dak Prescott for essentially trading away Lamar Jackson. Sorry.
So
yes,
you
trading away for Lamar Jackson and Kenneth Walker.
Turned Ken Walker into Reed and Dak, which is great.
And then Lamar Jackson and Jerome for Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, and a 1 quarterback. That's brilliant.
I currently filled out numerous bench spots with waiver wire additions. Okay. None here that I'm like raving about.
I like Tyler
personally.
Scott. I like that ad. That's a 200.
Cameron Latu is interesting as well.
I love Davis Allen. Y'all know I will ride or die with Davis Allen as the best waiver wire ad this offseason. Mark it, clip it. Show me in a year that I don't know what I'm talking about. Cause I'm probably right, but
I love that I have Bijan, JJ, and Laporta to build around, but I have no depth anywhere. Where do I go from here? Especially with the 103 and a 1 quarterback and 1 dynasty. I like Caleb a lot, but I know I should probably roll with Dak and Golf to fill out the needs elsewhere of running back and wide receiver. Should I try and trade back and acquire more picks, or should I trade those picks for more established players? I know we are all salivating over that combine. I would love some more 2nd and 3rd picks. Is there anyone on my roster that I can flip, tier up or down? I can't wait to hear. Cool. I mean, this is
great.
Exactly what we do. We're all about value, tiering up, tiering down, doing it. So steezy.
I would say, just because he said, what do I do here, especially with the 103 and 1 quarterback? that makes it sound like you're not hyped to have the 103, but that's exactly where I want to be in the top 3 in a 1 quarterback. Like that's where I want to be in a tight end premium in the top 4. So I don't think that's like you're in a good spot. And let's just remember, is there a tight end premium? No.
No tight end premium.
Half PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 4 flex. So it's start 10. So you can start 6 wide receivers. But just so we're on the same page as we go into this, do we know his team name?
Yeah, his name. Diddy.
Oh, it is.
Diddy.
I mean, well,
Easy.
Look,
At the 3.
that makes sense.
And look, it looks like this league is, at the moment, it looks pretty well balanced all throughout here in a 1 quarterback. There's no significant gaps when you look at the gradient of numbers from bottom to top or top to bottom.
Are you a bottom guy?
I'm a top guy.
Putting the work in.
Yeah, man, you just have to.
And then here comes Brooklyn.
And hey.
So 1 quarterback, walk us through it.
Yeah, 1 quarterback, Dak Prescott and Jared Goff. I mean, I love that already off the rip, to be honest with you. I would have been okay with just Jared Goff if you told me you had Lamar Jackson and maybe try and pivot it in a different direction there.
Yeah.
But still, it's still really good. You got 2 backup quarterbacks there. You've seen Dak Prescott go down in the past. So having Jared Goff is a good insurance policy there. Running backs, Bijan Robinson, Chase Brown, Damian Pierce, and the list kind of goes on from there.
This team would feel better with Joe Mixon, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it definitely would here. But Chase Brown downtown is not terrible. Maybe Joe Mixon walks and Chase has some opportunity.
You are betting and praying that Mixon is the cap casualty. You're just waiting on it because then you'll be like 200 IQ. I already knew the future.
Remember, it is a start 10, and he can start up to 6 wide receivers, 2 wide receivers, and 4 flex spots. Okay, keep that in mind. So your wide receivers right now: Justin Jefferson, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Jameson Williams here, and then Alec Pierce. Well, you'd be a top 5 hypothetically, and then the list kind of goes on from there with A.T. Perry, Noah Brown, etc., etc. So you really only have 3 wide receivers that at the moment feels comfortable with Justin Jefferson.
You really only
Reed,
feel good
Watson.
about 2, but you feel like you can start 4 of them if things go their way. We've heard, keep in mind, guys, people don't realize this. Jameson Williams has never been a starter on the Lions yet. Like, he has been in and out of like their game plan, but he hasn't been like an 80-90% snap guy. They think that's going to happen this year. That's exciting. Christian Watson, we saw him put up big numbers when healthy. He just couldn't stay healthy. They talked about as a team how their priority this offseason is figuring out why. So at best you have 2, at worst you have 2, at best you have 4. Yeah, you and I would agree that there's no starter here anywhere else though.
Yeah, outside. So yeah, I would agree here. Completely agree at the wide receivers position there. And then tight ends is Sam Laporta.
And Jonnu Smith, who is the Dolphins tight end now.
A new weapon now. Who would have thought?
And he is going to probably get very few opportunities. And I think people are going to overpay for him, which is silly. But that's just my opinion.
I think so as well here. So you do have the 103, the 203, the 309, and the list kind of goes on here as Zach is setting up the whiteboard.
He's also got 2 seconds next year. No, he doesn't. My bad. So he pretty much has all his picks in these drafts, which is good.
Yeah, he does. He does, which is not too bad here. I'm really trying to think of where he can tear down or tear up at players.
So
now it is. I do have a couple ideas, but
okay, no, you go ahead. I was just gonna say at the 103, I don't want to move back with a 1 quarterback format.
Yeah, I would agree there.
Walk us through what you're thinking.
Well, I was going to say, let's talk about the stick and pick, and then we'll talk about my scenario, which will be in scenario 2. So the 103 was that Rome Odunze at the moment, right? Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 101, 102, and then Rome Odunze, and then or Brian Thomas Jr. Well, just Rome Odunze actually.
Yeah.
And then 203 is just best player available, and that could be a wide range of players.
Let me read my rankings at the 203. You're looking at a Benson, Brooks, probably not available, right? But you just have to say that just in case they are. A Lloyd, a McMillan, a Wright. That's the range you're in.
Yeah, I would agree. Those running backs can really change this team. if they do fall there to the 203. And
And
just to throw out some wide receivers, if those guys are off the board, maybe they had incredible draft capital. Ricky Roman, I know you like Jalen McMillan, he'll be there. Jermaine Burton could potentially be there, and Xavier Legette could potentially be there. All depends on their draft capital and how your guys, or who's going to be falling to you there.
Yeah,
and then obviously best player available.
It's impossible to say who's available from the 3rd and 4th round. We don't know. Yeah. So that's scenario 1, stick and pick. That's a great scenario, by the way, because let's play that out. You get Rome. Let's say you get Rome and you get probably not getting Benson or Brooks. So let's just say you get Rome and you get Jalen Wright, for example. So now your team is looking a little bit better because you've got Jalen Wright as your RB2, assuming he goes like round 3 or whatever. Chase Brown could be something. Now in a league where you can start 6 wide receivers, you got Jefferson, you've got Rome Odunze, you got Jaden Reed, 3 guys you feel good about. At least we're starting to build a foundation and try and potentially move on from there. But so that stick and pick. What is scenario 2 then?
Scenario 2 is what I had, which I doubt is going to be unpopular opinion, but the only person I can think of trading here, 2 people, will either be Bijan Robinson and Justin Jefferson.
So you're saying pivot, not picks, right?
Yeah, pivot, get value and depth, because remember, this is a start. It's a start 6 wide receiver, and the reason why we emphasize that is because at the flex position, we like to start wide receivers over running backs or any other position that you could potentially start there. But start 6 is pretty significant. So Justin Jefferson is going to hold you down for sure, but this is why your depth is so poor. Yeah. So can I get 3 top 15, not 3 top 15, but maybe 2 top 15 and a pick in the future? Because that's how much Justin Jefferson could potentially cost, right? And that's kind of where I'm thinking about pivoting to when I think of a Justin Jefferson or Bijan Robinson.
Let me throw out an idea there. How about we start with the baseline as the 101 or the 102 plus a player? Who has those picks? That means we get Marvin and Neighbors and something else on those teams. So can we find out who has those?
So 101 picks? Is Team 6, Holy Schnitt.
Yeah.
At the 101, and then Team 7 is Smooth So Fast, who has the 102. So back to back here.
So how about the 101 or 102 and Chris Olave?
Yes.
Or who was on the other team that I liked? Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson. Yeah.
I
would even say
be great for his team.
Would you do AJ Brown? AJ Brown was in Team 7, by the way.
Oh, is he? My bad. Yeah, I'll do AJ Brown there. I don't have a problem with that.
That's what I was. So Olave and AJ Brown.
Probably be my 3rd preference. Or I'd probably take AJ over Chris at this point.
And then Garrett Wilson on Team 6 team. So
there is another option though, where we go from even further than this. Who has Jordan Addison? What pick do they have? The 101.
Team 6. He has the 101.
So
yeah.
Give us the 101 plus Jordan Addison plus a 2025 first, for example.
Yeah. And you build in that. And do you have your picks in 2025? He does.
Yeah.
He does have his picks in 2025.
So that's definitely these are options that I think are definitely going to help our team. Look, the reality is no one doesn't want Justin Jefferson. We all want Justin Jefferson on our team, but Badaki's right. In a start 6 wide receiver league, that is very uncommon, first I would say. And we can't overstate how important wide receiver depth is in that format. I mean, you can start 5 wide receivers in this format, which is contrary to a 1 quarterback start 8 with 3 wide receivers where you can start. It completely contradicts or mirrors it to a different part where it's hey, wide receivers are actually super important. If you have 6 guys in the top 20, you're probably winning a lot of games. Whereas if you have 1 guy in the top 3 and then 15 in the top 50, you're probably not winning many games because it really does matter in this format. So I do love that we have these players, but they're probably pieces we can move to improve. So I like that move. Any other move for Justin Jefferson you want to talk about?
Not for Justin Jefferson. I think I would move on to the running back. Now the running back is a little bit more difficult because I would 100% want a 2-for-1, either tearing down at the running back position, but emphasizing that I still want a wide receiver in this format, right? So the first person that comes to mind is like a James Cook. Can I get a James Cook plus a wide receiver, and what does that look like? Depending on the wide receiver.
Who has James Cook then?
Calvin and the Chipmunks. So can I get James Cook and Brandon Ayuk? Is that too much to ask?
I don't think that's enough for me.
Okay. Oh, well, then let's get some more, right? Like, if that's not enough for you, then James Cook, Brandon Ayuk plus something, and he has Chris McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson, right? So it all depends on what that looks like. I'm not necessarily sure how far you want to tear down, but the second person that comes to mind is Isaiah Pacheco. Can I get Isaiah Pacheco, who is in Team 10?
Okay, yeah. Walk us through.
I'm just thinking that he can tier up to a better wide receiver depth with like Nico Collins, who he has on his team, plus something more.
You said Nico Collins plus. So I don't mind this idea. I just don't personally want to pivot that far down at running back.
Sure. And I can understand that. And that's why I think I emphasize the wide receiver tier. Like if I can get a top 10 wide receiver, still, and then tier down at the running back position significantly, I think that is a good compromise based off of the start or off the depth that I have at the those flex positions.
I'll tell you a couple ideas that I have. I mean, like JT feels like a more comfortable pivot. I know it's not he's gonna cost a little bit more, but can I get JT? And what does this guy have? Like DJ Moore and London. I know. Give me a second. DJ Moore and London, and we will give you Bijan Robinson and what is that? And you have to figure that out with that owner. In the 203, Bijan Robinson plus the 203, for example.
Yeah, okay with that. That's good. Yeah.
203.
I'm happy with that.
That's an option. I also think of names like Achan. Who has Achan? No, I'm an Achan guy. Let's find out where Achan is.
Team 11. JSABO. I don't know how to say it.
They have Achan.
They don't have any wide receivers though.
But that's okay. What we can do is we can go the draft capital route. So 25. Give me Achan plus 2 firsts.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, your first in 2025 because your team's dog shit. No disrespect. Actually, it is disrespect. It's strictly disrespect. I want your first for the next 2 years.
You can even throw Travis Etienne in there if you want.
Yeah, what does the Etienne owner have?
Pitt season, so I'm assuming you would do Etienne Rice plus something.
Ooh,
that'd be nice. That's sexy. Is that too much?
He probably would drool over the thought of Brees and Etienne on one team. But you said Etienne and Rice?
Etienne Rice, yeah.
How about Etienne Rice? I think you can get more out of this.
That 205 maybe?
I want to get that 105. I want to get your first next year, and I'll give you my second this year.
Okay, sure.
Right?
That's fine.
So Bijan plus the 203, and I'm trying to get that Etienne Rice and then 25 first. But he also has Brees Hall. So how about we pivot to Brees? That would be, a super easy pivot, and we'll take Rashee Rice off your hands too, but we will give you the 203. So that's straight Bijan 203 for Brees and Rice.
Yeah. And
I like that a lot.
That changes your team. Not only that you still get that wide receiver, that we're talking about, but you get draft capital in a lot of those trades, which it's not that you need that, but it's the sense that you can continue to build off in that wide receiver room going into this year or next year or the future. And Sam Laporta, you keep the quarterbacks, you keep Dak Prescott and Jared Goff. I think since you don't have a top 10, I need to keep both of those guys. I don't want to move any of those guys personally, just in case. I think both of those guys, they were both top 10 quarterbacks this past year.
Another idea I had was Kenneth Walker and Olave for Bijan. I think you can probably add something onto that. What is that something? Or can you, again, add your 203 and get a first next year or something? I'm just trying to think of like all avenues there. But I think that is probably... I mean, you could go even further down. And like, what if you did like a Tajay and a Amon-Ra? Do you know what I mean? I know...
True.
I know that kind of sucks losing Bijan, but like I think you and I both would rather have Tajay plus Amon-Ra for instead of Bijan. I would do that straight up. I mean, maybe you can add something onto that.
Yeah, that's what I say. I think maybe for me, I would add something onto that.
How about the 107 and I also gave you the 203?
Sure. That feels significantly more comfortable for me. I'm still in this draft. I still get some capital. And I get a top tier wide receiver, and I just tear down at the running back position. But yeah,
else before we move on?
I just want a massive overpay, and I think that's kind of what Nick is saying. I'm not sure if he feels like tearing from Jefferson will give you a bigger overpay, which it probably is. And I think no matter what, I want a big overpay from Bijan and Justin Jefferson. Both these guys in their fantasy community are wide receiver 1 and RB1. You're getting the RB1 wide receiver 1. I want the overpay. Doesn't matter who that is, it does matter who it is, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, doesn't matter.
No, I mean, you and I think would both be super happy if we pivot off of both of them. It's not because we don't love these players. Obviously, we want these players, but with our team, it's going to be better for us long term if we pivot off of them. So let's say, for example, Badaki, we ended up getting JT, DJ Moore in London. Let's just say the orange is what we actually ended up with. JT, DJ Moore in London. And we also got, let's say, this Addison deal, for example. Okay, so all of a sudden, our roster looks different. It looks very different. So we still have Dak Prescott as our starter. But now at running back, we have Jonathan Taylor. And we don't really have a second guy that we love. That's already where we are. That's completely fine.
James Brown, same position at the running back.
At wide receiver, we no longer have Jefferson. But we do have DJ Moore, Drake London, Jordan Addison, Malik Neighbors, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson.
See how that
so
instantly changes your wide receiver room. You still have Sam Laporta. It feels a lot better now, to where like you can be a nice little sneaky competing team, but also have the youth on top of that as well, which is really exciting. And in reality, all the next year in 2025, you can either still go for a wide receiver or you get that RB2, which that 2025 class at the moment, from what I'm understanding, has some really good running backs in that class.
Yeah.
So, and that can change so many things.
You know, is this tight end premium?
It's not.
I was going to say
premium.
we could pivot off Laporta, but it's not probably going to be worth it. I just wanted to explore a couple more Jefferson options if we don't go with the 101 or the 102. Let's talk about some actual wide receiver names that we want to, because I don't think that list is big for me of those pivot names, but like Puka, it has to be way more than just Puka and the 104. But let's say Puka Nacua, Puka, the 104, and I mean, can we get Gibbs in there somehow? Can it just be Puka and Gibbs, and I'll give you the 203? Would you do that?
Yes,
I would. Not enough.
I think I would.
Yeah.
Well, the 103, because we have the 103, right? I actually don't think it's enough for the 103.
Oh, plus the 107, you're saying.
Wait, I'm confused. So you're trying to...
So yeah, let's take away the 203 there, which is what Nick is suggesting there. So Jefferson for... Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm trying to make this easier to read. Okay. So Puka and Gibbs. Would you take Puka and Gibbs for Jefferson? And then all of a sudden, you've got Bijan Robinson, Puka Nacua, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with it, but I think I still want more depth than just getting two heavy hitters, because I think I'm just going to put myself in the same spot.
That's fair. I don't think you can pivot to CD, but let's say like the very obvious names, CD plus Chase plus, right? If I can get like a... Who do those players have? The guy who has CeeDee Lamb, the guy who has Jamar Chase has a Tank Dell, for example. So like Chase plus Dell, done deal, easily done.
Yeah.
Who has CD? The guy who has CD has Team 2 Pittman. I don't think you could get that done, but of course, if you can, great. But it's not going to happen. Let's move on though to tearing down. How far would you want to go down? I don't really want to go that far.
From Justin Jefferson at the wide receiver position?
Yeah. Like, A.J. Brown's a fun one. But there's no one on that team that makes sense. We already talked about that team anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not many teams that make sense. I'm not going to Tyreek. I'm not going to Waddle.
Yeah, I think I'll be in the range of like the Nico Collins, Tank Dells, to where like I think that's my cutoff.
Yeah, Monroe's a great one too.
You could tear down to like Olave's, the Waddles as well. But like you just have to add more on top.
How about this? Drake London, Amon-Ra, and the 107.
Amon-Ra, Drake London, the 107. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So anyway, I just want to give him as many options as he can. Again, guys, you know, the whole point of these streams and us telling y'all, you know, go try this. Most of the time, 90% of these deals aren't going to happen, but it's putting your foot in the door, opening as many doors as you can, and seeing what kind of return comes your way. But I think you and I, if it was our team, we would 100% agree that we want Bijan, we want Jefferson, but we're going to have the best team if we actually pivot off those for a huge packages in return. Now, of course, if those packages aren't coming to you, if you're not able to get that kind of return, that doesn't mean you force one of these deals to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree with that philosophy.
Yeah, but use your fantasy hotline. I know you're probably not with us now, but definitely use your fantasy hotline. Let us know, I guess, in that hotline if you have any other questions. But other than that, it's all about tearing down and getting the best value there. And if not, like Zach said, stick and pick and get your guy. But we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support.
Yes, we do appreciate you big time. That is it for today, guys. Everyone who's on stream with us, thank you so much for hanging out. Hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Remember, our 2024 Rookie Report version 3.0 is out on the Flock Fantasy website. Any Mother Flocker member can view it. Use our code LAND to sign up if you want a team grade from us. But that's it. We do appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we'll see you guys tomorrow with a rookie draft, a live rookie draft. Hit the like button. We'll see you soon. All love.
Love.